first day of winter break, it was like 9 o'clock in the morning, and my dad opens the door and he goes, "Get up, we're going to the hospital." And I'm like, "Whatever, dude, sure." And I hated hospitals at the time,
of course.
And we could only go to the military hospital, so we rushed to the military hospital, and they were like, the doctor that we sat down, he's like, "All right, we're gonna put you on a heart monitor, just see what's going on." And I'm like, "Fuck, whatever." So he's like, "Okay, so we have a little bit of an issue." I'm like, "Fuck you mean?"
Yeah.
Like, what? And then he goes, "Yeah, your heart rate is 140 beats per minute sitting, and you haven't walked or ran." And I'm like, "Oh." He's like, "Yes, we're gonna get you to chest X-ray." And I'm like, "Gotcha. So more walking for me."
Right.
Cool.
Got
So I
it.
was like, walk down to the chest X-ray. They did it. Got back to the room. He's like, "Okay, so your heart is 3 times the size of what it's supposed to be. So your heart is your fist." So they said it was enlarged 3 times its size. So it was blowing up out of my chest. That's why I couldn't breathe.
Jesus. So what
They go either.
what was going on in your head while like, so they give you that news, like, so when it goes from when you get the 140 beats per minute, were you like kind of starting to freak out a little bit, or were you still in the mindset of like, "Oh, well, I don't know what's going to happen"?
At that point, I was just I didn't care because I wanted to feel better because I was suffering through this for a month. So I was just like, I was so out of it.
Dude, that's crazy for a month. Now, granted, who knows? But that might have been the beginning stages of this. But dude, a month you dealt with that. That is, dude, I can't even imagine. I can't imagine living with a headache for a month, dude.
Yeah.
What? Okay.
Yeah,
so they get you to the chest X-ray room. You find out that your heart is 3 times the size.
Yeah.
Does panic start to set in then, or are you still just like, what is going on? What's going to happen?
I'm still like, what is fucking going on?
Right.
But then on the other side of me, I got pops like,
freak.
Where do we go? Where do we go?
Yeah.
What is happening?
Yeah, because your dad knows what's up right now. Like, your dad knows what's going on. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So the doctor said either you can wait for an ambulance to take you to Phoenix Children's Hospital, or you guys can go. And my dad goes, "Say less." He gets at the time he didn't have his Jeep. He had a Chrysler 300.
Okay.
Fucking souped up.
Yeah.
Fucking turbo. Fucking just everything.
Ready to roll.
He pulls that up. They wheel me out so I didn't have to walk.
Yeah.
Threw me in. I swear, if the cops were paying attention that day, we both could have went to jail. He was going like 120 on the freeway,
just
getting
flying.
us there. And so we zoomed there, and he goes, "Wait here. I'm going in to tell him." So he goes to the ER, and they get him, and they bring out a fucking bed. They lift me out of the car, put me on it. I'm not exaggerating when I say this. 5 to 10 minutes of being in there, they're like, "You're gonna need a heart transplant."
Jesus.
And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, there's
a heart transplant, bro. That is, dude, like in terms of transplants, that's got to be like the biggest one.
Yeah.
Dude, did your dad know, like right when that news was shared, like, "Hey man, you're gonna have to have a heart transplant"? Like, I can imagine as a parent, he was, oh my God, freaking out.
Oh yeah, he was mad at them. He's like, "My son's so fucking healthy. What do you mean?"
Yeah, because you were playing sports at the time and all that kind of stuff, dude. And so when they hit you with and now, what was your thought immediately when they were like, "Hey man, you need a heart transplant"?
I was like, "What?" Like, I was like, "Come again? Who?" I was like, what are one of those?
Yeah.
And then from that point on, they just, once it hits that point, I started to lose consciousness, and I don't remember much.
Really?
So it was December 20th to December 31st, I went on a very rapid decline.
Right.
They were trying to cure it with medicine, because that's usually what you can do. And it just wasn't working. I was gradually each day getting worse and worse and worse.
Right.
And then they were like, "Okay, we're going to have to, you're listed on a transplant thing, but we're going to need to get you something to, keep you tided over until then."
Yeah.
So they put what it's called a left ventricular assist device in.
Okay.
And it's a little pump that sits under your heart, on the other side of your rib cage. And it's a continuous cycle. It's a flow.
Okay.
So you don't have a beat. It's just a continuous flow
pumping
keep your
blood
heart
and
going.
yeah, okay,
Yeah. Yep.
gotcha.
So they put one of those in as a bridge to get to transplant. And the second they put that in, I was good to go.
Really? Like you were able to like get up and walking and all that, or
Yeah.
what?
Yeah. I spent like 17 days in after that, kind of getting used to it. They had to train me how to use it, how to change it, stuff like that. And
How to
all that
change
stuff.
it?
I had to change so I was plugged into normal wall power, a normal
What?
socket.
Like an
Yeah, a normal
iPhone?
yeah, I was
Jesus
like an iPhone.
Christ.
Yeah, so I was plugged into that, and then I would have to, when I wanted to go out, I'd have to put on batteries. So I had to disconnect from one thing at a time from the wall to the batteries so that I could,
What?
yeah. So
And this was
I
this all at the hospital? Like
yeah,
during this time,
mhm.
you never left the hospital.
No, I was actually the first kid released with that pump from Phoenix Children's. They didn't allow kids to do that.
Oh wow.
So
Okay.
we pushed to do that because at the time I was 16.
Hmm.
I was a pretty big dude at 16.
Right.
I was almost full grown already. So my dad was doing a bunch of research. He's like, "Hey, the Mayo Clinic has people that have these and they fucking go home. Why can't he?"
Right.
So they're like, "Well, I guess you're right." And we're like, "Yeah, like why not
Yeah.
recover at home instead of sitting in a hospital
Yeah, dude.
for
Hospitals are weird, man.
yeah, dude, I
God.
hated it."
Yeah.
So they said, "Okay, so what we'll do is we'll release you and then you'll do your aftercare with Mayo Clinic until we find you a heart."
Yeah.
So that's what I did from middle of January to March 23rd when my transplant happened. That's all I did was
So
prepare for it.
so at home, what kind of like with that pump that was in there, what kind of like restrictions were you on? What could you do? Like
Whew.
what couldn't you do? All that kind of stuff. And this
Uh,
is still pre-transplant.
yeah. So I had a shit ton of restrictions.
Okay.
Couldn't go back to school, obviously.
Right.
When you brought up the stomach sleeping, it hit home. Couldn't sleep on my stomach,
Yeah.
and I'm a stomach sleeper.
Yeah. God.
Um, yep. I couldn't shower. Um,
What?
yeah. Yeah, because I had a cord coming out of my stomach that like where the like all went in and stuff, and that's
Yeah.
where the controller was. And
Oh my
it
God, dude.
yeah, dude. So I was fucking sink bath boy for 3 months.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, man. It was rough. It sucked.
Holy hell.
You could shower with them now.
Yeah.
But like at the time it just I was not like I was like, no, I'm
Yeah,
not
for
doing this.
sure. Yeah, for sure.
So I had that. I was on Cumanin, which is or I think that's what it's called. It's a blood thinner. So I
Okay.
couldn't have any green vegetables, which I was like fiending for.
Yeah, of course. After a little
Um,
while.
it goes against the medicine, so I couldn't have that. There were just a bunch of food restrictions, like things that would counteract against the medicine I was taking.
Right.
Um,
What were
and
you
then
eating? Like what was an average meal like for you at that time?
so my dad was helping me out a lot. Like I was thankful to have him
Of
around and he didn't
course.
have to work and like
Yeah.
he could just be like my home nurse.
Yeah.
I was pretty much eating like chicken, rice, vegetables, beef, rice, vegetables,
Right.
just anything that was lean and healthy to get me like
Right.
the proper nutrients. I was
Just
also
no
doing physical
greens in the
therapy.
vegetables, right?
No greens. I
Right.
could do like corn, fucking like anything else, but like green beans, lima beans,
Right.
lettuce, like any of
Gotcha.
that. But I was doing physical therapy to like get stronger every day to kind of prepare for the transplant.
Yeah. What were they having you do
So
during physical therapy?
they'd have me do 10 minutes on a treadmill, 10 minutes on a bike, and then like 15 minutes of weights, really
Okay.
lightweight.
Okay.
And I would do that 3 times a week.
Okay.
And I'm gonna tell you right now, I hated doing it. I didn't want to.
Of course, no kid ever
I
wants to do physical therapy, bro.
yeah, so I
No
was
kid
like
ever wants to. God, I had to rehab
16
an
years
ankle one time, and I would have rather just stayed broken.
exactly. You're just like,
God.
why?
Yeah.
Like I hate this.
Yeah.
And so I did all that, and I say it now that I hated it, but I'm thankful I did it because it prepared me to get out quicker from the hospital.
Really?
Because yeah, so I was like, so once I, had the pump, had all my restrictions, went through all the process, they so like I got invited out March 22nd to a White Sox Giant spring training game.
Okay, cool.
They invited me.
Yeah, because a lot of the spring training games are held in Arizona. Quite a few of them. Yeah.
Yep. So they saw my story about me because a bunch of news stations did things about me. Like first kid released, he's like this crazy dude.
And
like,
this is all still pre-transplant.
Yeah, this is all pre.
Okay.
So this was March 22nd. They invited me out. They wanted me to do like a home run for life.
Okay.
And they shared my story. They stopped the game at the second inning. And I was like, yo, I ain't gonna be able to swing this bat. Like, I'm sorry.
Had you gone on the field and take a hack?
I was at home plate, and all the White Sox were to the right of me on first base line.
Yeah.
And the Giants were to the right of me or the left of me on third base line. And I'm
Holy hell.
They had me up on the big screen, and like they had the loudspeakers in the crowd, and I'm just standing there with the bat, and I'm like, I'm not gonna be able to swing this thing.
Yeah.
So then they say like hit the home run. So I just went like, like whatever I could do, and I went and high-fived all the White Sox.
Yeah.
And then went across and high-fived all the Giants, and I just went up back in the crowd, and everybody's cheering for me like, yo, bro, like,
yeah,
don't worry, like the heart will come.
Yeah.
So we get home that night, and we got the call for the heart that night.
Really?
No joke.
Holy hell.
Night.
That's crazy. I just got the chills, by the way. That's crazy.
Yeah. It's crazy, man. Gives me chills every time.
Yeah,
like,
that's wild.
It's incredible.
And so from there, what happens?
When they gave me the call, I was just like, it's happening. Like,
now was the heart
like,
sent?
Shit.
Was the heart sent to the Mayo Clinic or to the Arizona, like the
Phoenix Children's?
Yeah, Phoenix Children's.
So it's a process. So you have to, like, they say, hey, we might have a heart. Be ready. Click.
Right.
They don't give you any more information.
Yeah.
So you're just like,
okay.
So then they call you again and say, yes, this is yours. Be here at this time.
Right.
So what they do is they time it because they want it to be perfectly timed for you.
Right.
To get the heart perfectly. So I was in surgery with my old heart out, and they were flying in with the new one and got it, and they had it in an igloo cooler.
Yeah. So I'll put some links down below so people can see it, but I got to watch one of the original interviews with you that happened like right after all of this, and they were they actually had what looked to be I don't know if this is true or not, but the actual footage of them wheeling in the heart on the cooler, like a literal just ice cooler, igloo ice cooler on wheels. It's so wild.
That's what they do. Yeah. So I was chest cracked open, ready to go for them to just bring it in, do what they need to do, plop it in, sew it up, and then good to go.
God, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's a whole process. Like I had to get there at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
And then they clean you, like they wipe you down with these really sterile wipes.
Yeah.
They tell you what's going to happen. And then 8 a.m. rolls by and they're like, you sign this dotted line, this happens. You don't sign it,
and
you go back
and you had to sign it, correct?
Yeah, I had to sign it.
Yeah, because like, dude, there's so many liabilities, bro. Like,
Yep.
God, that's but of course you're like, dude, I'm not reading shit. I'm signing this thing. Let's go.
Yeah, well, I sat there for a few minutes. They gave it to me, and I won't lie to you, I sat there for about 20 minutes before I signed it.
Really? You read it all?
Yeah. I didn't read it. I just contemplated what I wanted to do.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, of course you wanted the heart, guy. Of course you want to live.
Yeah, but you get so comfortable with the pump that you second guess, like, do I really want to do this?
Really?
Because your chance of living is, they're gonna save you, but something could go wrong.
Yeah, not only during the operation, but post-op too. Because
so like
I know that sometimes the body will reject organs. Like obviously, that my dad went through something similar. Yeah, and that was the big fear, was that it was going to the body wasn't going to actually take it in and just reject it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And that was one of my fears, was like, is this going to accept me? Am I going to be okay? Yeah. Am I going to be able to live through this? So yeah, they threw it in. It was 11-hour surgery. Yeah, because I was in, like, they got with my heart around like 11, but I was like chest cracked open, prepped, ready before that, and I was on bypass, so like I was good
Yeah.
alive. I just didn't have my heart in me. So yeah, they plopped it in, and it was 11-hour surgery, and they pulled me out, and they said, hey, like, he's gonna have enough anesthesia to not keep him knocked out for at least a day.
Right.
And not even 5 minutes of being back in my room, I was already awake.
Really?
So there, yeah, anesthesia just runs through me like it's so quick. Like
That's
I don't
wild.
doesn't phase me. And I was awake, like, what's up?
That's
Like looking
wild.
around, like what's going on? And then yeah, man, I got out 9 days after that. Had
9
my
days after you got a brand new heart.
yeah, man, yeah, it's
9
crazy.
days after
9 days.
new body part was put in, the most important body part was put inside of
Yeah.
you. Dude,
Yep.
so during those 9 days, what was going on? Were you just complete? Because I've seen some pictures, and what I'm gonna have you send me some of them. We'll actually like put them up somewhere on here so you can see
Yeah.
them. But what's going on in these 9 days?
They're just getting you like normal to prep and like be ready for to like move
Right.
forward. Like they're
Right.
getting you like your meds, like they're prepping you with all your meds. They're making sure your dosages are correct, because they want to make sure that when you leave, that you're not going to be stuck, like, in a predicament where your meds are fluctuating too much and then
Right.
it's affecting the heart.
Right.
They want to make sure everything is perfect to a T, so that when you leave, you go home and then all you have to worry about is taking your meds and coming back for your checkups.
Right.
I was obviously doing a lot of walking on the ICU, because that's the only place I could walk. I
Yeah.
couldn't really go anywhere else. So I was doing my rounds on the ICU, circling, just trying to show them that, hey, I'm ready to go home.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I don't want to like be in here longer.
Right.
So me showing them that I could do that was like me saying, hey, like, get me the hell out of here.
Yeah, of
Like I want to move
course.
forward with this.
Of course.
So then they were doing my normal checkups on my heart, like doing ultrasounds, just seeing how everything was like going after transplant to make sure
Right.
nothing would be wrong. And then 9 days hits, they say, hey, you get to go home today.
Dude,
So,
and were you just overexcited?
dude, I was pumped. I was ready to go. I was like, let's do it. Let's get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, of
like,
course.
let's go home.
Yeah.
And like my dad was already prepping the house before, because he had to clean it and
Yeah.
like be like extra sanitary. So he cleaned the entire house.
Yeah, because
And then
obviously I know that post all of this, dude, it is a sanitary. Everything has to be literal hospital floor type deal.
Yeah, yep. It has to be like spotless. This
Yeah.
first like year of the transplant is like crucial time to be like clean.
Cannot get sick. Nothing can happen. Yeah.
Nothing, yeah.
Same thing with my pop too. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's just you have to prep. And then I went home, and it was just been the journey since then. It's been checkups after checkups, blood draws,
Yeah.
just making sure everything's regulated.
Yeah, because I